Yeah.
show me.
No,
Those are good every time.
Shoots up.
Yeah.
If that's a mechanical pencil, there's no way you're gonna get that little bitty lead out of there.
Nothing's showing yet.
Battery was even
Don't bank it now.
anything with that, you know, like they're just so heavy compared to new cars, which are literally made of plastic. On a frame, on a not plastic.
Good evening. We're going to call our meeting to order. I would ask you at this time if you have cell phones to please turn them off. We will stand and have a pledge of allegiance by Councilmember Lathan and prayer by Mayor Pro Tem Reed.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you would like to pray with us, would you please remain standing? Dear God of us all, as we gather today as leaders and citizens of this great city, seeking your guidance and your wisdom, we acknowledge your sovereignty over all things and your love for our community. We pray for your presence to be felt in this meeting, guiding our decisions and our discussions. Help us to prioritize the needs of our citizens, promote justice, and foster a spirit of unity and cooperation. Grant us wisdom to make decisions that benefit the common good and courage to stand for what is right. May our words be with kindness, respect, and compassion. Bless our city officials, our staff, and our citizens with your peace and your understanding and strength. May our collective efforts bring glory to you and prosperity to our city. Amen.
Amen. All our council members are present tonight. On our consent agenda from our work session, we had approval of meeting minutes work session of October the 4th and regular meeting October the 14th. If we can get an approval for those minutes, please.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any more discussion? All in favor, show of hands. Opposed, none, vote unanimously. Approval for street sweeper. We got a motion and a second for.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Motion
Second.
by Councilmember Blanton and second by Mayor Pro Tem Reed. Are there any more discussion? All in favor, show of hands. Opposed, none, vote unanimously.
I think the city council needs to, each of us need to try it out to make sure it's up to par, the street sweeper.
Oh, well,
It's kind of cute.
I saw it today.
I know. I just like exciting.
I'm excited, but I don't want to tear up the money. I can barely drive my car.
You can barely sit at your desk without tearing up the, no.
Okay, new business. Public hearing, map amendment, Adam Tillery, Rima Tip Top, North America Incorporated, 035 079 and 035 080 I1 to I2. Molly.
Mr. Adam Tillery, on behalf of Rima Tip Top North America Incorporated, is requesting a map amendment to 1500 and 1500A Industrial Boulevard. This application is to rezone parcels 035 080 and 035 079 from I-1 to I-2 to rectify existing nonconformities and continue expansion of their facility. Staff recognizes there is a nonconformity, Staff recognizes there is an existing nonconformity as the parcel 035079, which is the smaller parcel on the right, currently exceeds the building floor plan area and the lot coverage maximums established in the zoning ordinance, which is also in Table 1 of your staff report. This nonconformity could be resolved by the consolidation of the two parcels prior to the rezone to I-2. The property totals just above 20 acres, is located on Industrial Boulevard, and is surrounded by manufacturers zoned I-1 as well as warehouses zoned I. Therefore, it appears the zoning proposal is consistent with the commercial use and development of adjacent and nearby properties. It also does not appear that the zoning proposal will adversely affect existing infrastructure. It appears the zoning proposal is consistent with both the comprehensive plan as well as the urban redevelopment plan. The property is within the airport industrial urban redevelopment area, which supports growth of business. The proposed rezone also appropriately addresses two of the quality community objectives in the comprehensive plan, which are economic prosperity and efficient land use. This airport industrial area is designated as a job-oriented site that supports medium-sized businesses. Rema Tip Top is actually mentioned in the growth section of the comprehensive plan and is used as a model for medium-sized industries that continue to expand economic prosperity within Madison. After the November 21st Planning and Zoning meeting, the Commission unanimously recommends approval of the map amendment to the rezone of parcels 035080 and 035079 from I-1 to I-2 based on the application and discussion with the following condition of consolidation of the two parcels. This concludes the staff report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Are there any questions?
Yeah, Jill, if I could, Mayor, a question. If, with what we passed on the I-2, I think it was the I-2 expansion of the building size to 400,000 square feet. Just for my information, if these were to be two separate lots, assuming 400,000 square feet could fit, which I don't appear to be the case, but could they do two 400,000 square foot buildings? But by consolidating the two lots into one parcel, they'd be allowed to do one 400,000 square foot case. My question is more to other situations than this particular one. But do you have an answer to that? If you understood my convoluted question.
I understand it. They would still be bound by the 60-40 rule. So even, we would have to take a look at the, 60% of.
Is that the impervious surface?
Yes, the impervious surface of each of those buildings. If you were to not place the condition on this rezoning for the consolidation of the two, there is the chance that there could be two buildings exceeding the building square footage maximums on I-1. So I think that's one of the reasons why that condition is important, that it be consolidated in any future rezonings that you might hear. I understand your question, and I think, yes, there could be additional square footage built on these two pieces of property. Perhaps not on the one that is fully built out, but on the second one.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
There are no more comments. We are opening it up for a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak for this map amendment?
How you doing?
Fine.
Adam Tillery of the Rema Tip Top, here to answer any questions or comments.
Are there any questions for Adam Tillery, Rema Tip Top? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else here to speak for? Anyone here to speak against? If not, this public hearing is closed and it's back to our council member for a motion of approval. On this public hearing map, Rema Tip Top, North America Inc. 035079 and 03508-I1 to I2. Motion and second.
Yeah, Mayor, if no one else wants to jump in, I was pleased to see that the application seems to comply with the majority of our standards. That's not always the case as these things come to us, so that gives me a great deal of solace. I think a good corporate partner with us here in Madison. Glad to have you here and the jobs you provide, and I think this makes a lot of sense to me to kind of help your business grow and be good for the city as well. So if there's no other discussion, I would move to approve the map amendment to rezone the aforementioned parcels based on the public hearing and discussion and applicable standards with the condition that the two lots be consolidated into the one parcel.
Second.
There any more discussion? All in favor, show of hands. Opposed, none. Vote unanimously. So, Mr. Adams, will you be employing more people once this project is completed? Will you be employing more people?
There is a potential. For right now, it's just a small addition to our current facility, small expansion. That is the plan for future growth as we are allowed to expand with a new.
But it does add to the tax base.
Yeah, always.
And,
Always.
Mr. Mayor, if I
Sure,
may,
sure.
I'd like to make a comment on what a good corporate citizen Rema Tip Top is. They run a great shop.
Yeah.
I've had a tour of the facility. Everyone seems to enjoy what they're doing. Your employees seem very happy. They like the level of training and the level of safety. It's just, if you guys should go visit it someday.
Yeah, I was gonna offer anybody who,
It's,
who would like can come for a tour and a visit.
It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
It really is. So,
I'd like to do that.
thank you for being here. Thank you for continuing to remain in our town, in our city, and contribute. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, and we'll see if we can't get with our city clerk and get this organized, maybe sometime early next year.
Okay, yeah,
Thank
once
you
we
so
get
much.
started, you guys can come out and see the progress.
Appreciate that.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you.
you.
It's a good tour.
League of Valley Farm Easement Agreement, Gio Real.
Can't hear you.
Thank you. The Valley Farm Association has agreed to give 3 easements to the city to provide better access to Horse Branch Preserve. They consist of a 10-foot use easement, a construction easement, and a 30-foot maintenance easement, which you can see on this map that I provided to you before the meeting. This easement will serve as a connecting leg to Horse Branch Trail and is critical for trail expansion in Madison. In exchange for this easement, they ask for us to install and maintain shrubbery and a fence, which is labeled with E, and you can see in the green circles on your map. One thing to note is that the shrubbery will be on the other side of the fence. We just didn't have time to correct that on the map, but it will need to be within our easement on our side of the fence. And they agreed to that in September. I am here to request your acceptance of the Valley Farm easement and to answer any questions you may have regarding so.
Are there any questions on this Valley Farm Easement Agreement?
If I could just make a comment, Mayor, this is the fruition of a lot of long work with the Green Space Commission, led by Phil Smeltzer, and I know Carl Scott had a role in talking with the owners down there in Valley Farm, and of course, the planning department with Monica and Jill did a lot of work in getting to this point. It's sort of a critical, small little piece of the larger trail system, so I'm very excited to finally get to this point. On my usual scale of methodical pace to glacial pace, we're kind of like right in the middle, I'd say. So, anyway, we're glad to be there. Thank you for your work.
Thanks.
Are there any more comments? If not, if we could get a motion and a second to approve the Valley Farm Easement Agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any more discussion? All in favor, show of hands. Opposed is none. Thank you so much.
That'll be returned to Patrick Yost, and once they sign that, that'll come back and be given to Deborah for the city attorney to file it so that it becomes part of your property list.
Okay, thank you, Monica. Trees Across Georgia grant acceptance again, Jill?
On October 4th, Madison received notice of acceptance from the Urban and Community Forestry Trees Across Georgia grant. This grant will allow the Green Space Conservation Commission to clear harmful invasive species out of our conservation areas and green spaces. The TAG grant will also fund outside hire and educational services to the community. The second to last page on the agenda item 6B, 6B's handouts shows an updated budget. The Georgia Forestry Commission will fund $13,650 for a contractor, and the city will be matching in kind with staff and volunteer labor. The other services will be funded by GCC's regular budget. I presented this grant to you all a few months ago, but I'm here to request a formal acceptance of the award, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions?
I've got one thing I should have made sure to tell Jill. I'm so proud of her tonight. She's doing such a good job, but I realized that we forgot to give her one piece of information. So any motion to formally accept the grant should include the ability for the mayor to sign all associated grant documents, please.
So is the grant, Jill, for, strictly for invasive species removal?
Yes, sir.
And-
There's also a contractor to come help us remove those, and they will also provide educational services open to the public.
Oh, nice.
And the, what was it, 13,000? Is that
650.
amount then matched by the city? Is that the
Yes.
50?
Yeah.
Or at least in kind, as
In
my
kind,
colleague
you said
says here.
in kind.
Right, you'll notice that when we brought it to you, the only cash match is for small, like operating supplies that would come out of green spaces, normal operating budget. One reason you see an inflated number over when Jill first presented it to you is because they value volunteer time not at $11 an hour, but at like 30-something, and they made us correct the budget. So Madison's not laying out any additional money, they're just valuing that match differently.
And I will add, Green Space has been real successful in getting a lot of really good volunteer labor to do a lot of the trail work and cutting back invasives and, you know, if you ever want to get your boots muddy, come to one of those work details. It's a lot of fun, really.
Again, we thank you, Jill, for making this possible for our city as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
If we get a motion and a second to approve this grant acceptance,
With the additions that Monica put
sign
forward.
with the mayor to sign.
I do.
I mean,
Second.
are there any more discussion? All in favor, show of hands. Opposing, not voting unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Unfinished business, hold a vote to remove Candler Lane from DDA expansion overlay map.
Is that right?
Councilmember Joyce. Just need a, yes, right, yeah. Just, I think maybe that is. Just need a
I
motion to remove this from Candler Lane in a second. Eric?
Yeah, I think we discussed this at length at the work session at my request. I don't want to go over all the arguments again. I think that was the purpose of the work session. So I move that the Candler Lane properties, the 17 properties with Candler Lane addresses be removed from the DDA expansion overlay map that was revised at our last meeting. So simply the one portion of the DDA map that applies to Candler Lane, 17 houses, all with Candler Lane addresses, be removed from that map and revert back to the situation it was prior to our vote of 1 month ago.
Is that a motion?
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Oh.
Okay. That's a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I could
sir.
ask, are you just wanting to remove them from the DDA or the DDA and the Main Street?
I couldn't hear that, Jay, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Are you wanting them just to remove them from the DDA or the DDA and the Main Street overlay?
I don't have it personally, my motion is simply from the DDA
Okay.
expansion overlay, not the Main Street. I know it doesn't match up right,
No,
but
thank you.
that's my motion, is to just the DDA expansion overlay.
Is it all right if I interject quickly?
Sure.
I know that a motion's been made with a second, but from the Main Street's perspective, I would just prefer the two maps to match. So if you're going to remove it from the DDA maps, I would request that you also remove it from the Main Street map too.
And I have one question for clarity. Candler Lane is a PUD, and its front two lots are commercial, not residential. Does it include the removal of the two lots for Candler Lane that are not residential or not?
No, it does not, because they do not have, as I said, they do not have Candler Lane addresses, they have East Avenue addresses.
Okay,
So there's 17 houses on there, all with Candler Lane addresses.
so the
And the
back half of
removal
the
would only
subdivision
apply to
stays in, and the frontage of the subdivision comes
The
out?
two on the corner at East Avenue would remain in the map we approved a month ago.
So repeat what you said again, Sarah, you want to remove from, for it to match up?
For both the DDA and the special tax district, that is the Main Street service area, for those two maps to match. And so if you're removing those 17 lots from Candler Lane from the DDA map, I would request that you also remove them from the STD map as well, just so that they align, because that was the whole purpose in the first place, was to get the maps matching.
You have a problem with that, Councilmember Joyce?
As far as I'm concerned, I would like to keep my motion the way it is and apply to Candler Lane. If someone after, we have a motion and a second after we take a vote, if someone wants to make another motion based on the result of this vote to do what Sarah's suggesting, that's fine with me, but my motion, I'd like to keep it as it is.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Are there any more discussion?
I'd like to make a comment, if I may, and that is this. I would hope that all of us, all of the city council members would consider this and have looked into this. And the only reason I say this, and I'm trying to articulate this well, is that we have one council member coming in championing one thing for his, and that's fine for your district, but we can't be seen as each of us coming in and acting independently of the full council for the benefit of the full city for, you know, one microcosm thing. I support what you want to do, Eric, but I just want to know if any of the other, if any of the other council members have thought about it, have any comments about it. How do you view this?
And I think maybe this is something our attorney can sort of guide us on, because if we change one motion from last council meeting and change it at this council meeting, what's to say somebody, another council member can't come, or a citizen can't come and say, you know, I would like to renege on that vote because of.
I'm not totally sure, I totally understood your question, Mayor, but you all have the power to change, be careful what I say. You all made a vote last time. This vote is to amend the map again. So it doesn't really affect the last vote. You're not rescinding the last vote or anything. It's just, you amended the map at the last meeting, you're amending it again with Mr. Joyce's request. So it doesn't affect the vote from last time, it just affects the map in two separate occasions.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question, if I may.
Sure.
If this motion carries with his reluctance to add the Main Street map so that they sync up, could that motion and vote be made tonight, or would that need to be on an agenda for the next meeting?
No, you could amend your agenda tonight and make the Main Street one. This is a regularly called meeting, not a specially called, so you can amend your agenda and add another agenda item.
And if I may, Mr. Mayor, I'll comment on Betsy's request. I didn't hear in our work session or the last meeting a really pressing need. In fact, I think staff said there was no pressing need, but that's just the way they decided to go with it. Eric talked about he was reluctant. I think you abstained or voted against. I don't remember in the meeting. And then we talked about it. And to me, he represents the folks in his district, as we all do, and everybody in the city, and I think that's who we serve. And if I were hearing staff, you know, with a really hard push, no, we can't do it because, then I would, but I'm not hearing that, so I'm fine to support it, but I'm also fine to support staff's request to match up the maps.
And Mayor, if I could add a comment to both Rick and Betsy's comments. One of the objections I had to what we did a month ago was it was not regular order in my mind. We were presented in our packet with two maps, and there was no written material whatsoever. We had a good verbal presentation from Sarah as to why we were doing those, but we had the more fulsome discussion at the work session, and that to me is regular order. We have a chance to talk back and forth, talk about perhaps Sarah's thing tonight about which we were just presented with again. I kind of like regular order. Things that we're maybe unsure of, to have a discussion at a work session, and then so we have a chance to talk about it, talk with our constituents, and then vote. And that's kind of what I did with this motion tonight. We talked about it at our last work session. Everyone had a chance to give their opinions, and that's why we're moving to what I hope would be a vote tonight. I'm not necessarily opposed to what Sarah's proposing. I just don't think that fits in with my definition of regular order. If someone wants to make a motion to, after this one, to add that to the removal, that's fine.
And I think, Sarah, you were doing this to just make it compatible, to make everything sort of equal out in the city.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point that started this was that the Main Street District and the DDA maps are not aligned.
Uh-huh.
And the DDA board is the oversight board for the Main Street District, and the Main Street's director staffs the DDA board and helps coordinate things with their facade grants and other programs. So there's so much similarities with what they're doing in the range, and they're both supposed to be downtown areas. It just makes sense for them to be matched up. And so we just wanted them to be aligned so that the service areas for all the services that the DDA provides and all the services that Main Street provide were the same locations.
So I'm just going to remind y'all that these are done as an amendment to a resolution. And so we'll amend the resolution form and then just attach a different map to it. DDA will hear about this for the first time again at their regular meeting. And I mean, our planning logic was to make them coterminous, and the reason for the uses, Eric and I have gone over that, so I'm not going to go over that again because I don't want to be disrespectful anyway. But after DDA has a conversation, they may want to retract those other areas and recommend a much tighter boundary. If we're going to remove some things, they should all be treated the same and similar. So we're not, I just want to let you know that you don't need to act on Sarah's thing tonight. It would make more sense to me to follow the regular course of business. Let's plan it for a work session. Go ahead and vote on Eric's motion if you like, and then you may see a third version where there is consistency, and we make a boundary recommendation that follows the same logic.
And Mon, if I'm not mistaken, I think we had a couple of members of the DDA at our work session, but they didn't get a chance to speak to this because of time, I guess.
They both had other commitments, as they did this evening. I notified them, one of them Friday and one today.
Okay.
But they'll hear it at their regular meeting, and Sarah will go over with it and discuss with them, where to pull back, and maybe what they want to do with that.
Okay, all right. So again, we're back to a motion in a second. All in favor of remove Canada Lane from the DDA expansion overlay map?
Except for the frontage parcels.
Except from the frontage parcel. All in favor, show of hands. 1, 2, 3. Vote unanimously. Eric made the motion, and Councilmember Latham seconded it.
About the same time Carrie did, I guess.
And the vote was unanimously.
I don't think so. No,
Yeah.
you did. I didn't
Yeah,
know
you did, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Public service appointments, Ken? Thanks, Monica, thanks, Sarah, appreciate it.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We have appointments for 4 boards tonight, and I'll just dive right in. The first is the Corridor Commission. There are three full terms available. Vince Campbell and Sonny Pennington are seeking reappointment. The third has no applicant for it, and that's from the departure of Bob Seneff from both the commission and the town. So we will still have 1 vacant seat, but we have 2 applicants before you.
Okay. Who are those applicants again?
Vince Campbell and Sonny Pennington, and those are both seeking reappointment.
Okay.
Is it right for a motion, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir?
I move that we reappoint Vince Campbell and Sonny Pennington to the Corridor Design Commission.
Second them.
Are there any more discussion? All in favor, show of hands. Opposed, none. Vince and Sonny have been
Okay.
appointed. Thank you.
Next up is the Historic Preservation Commission. And before I get into the applicants, I will remind you, since we have more applicants than open seats, I'll remind you of our process for that. Each of you will have, there are three terms available, so we'll go down the line, and each of you will vote for 3 people. And assuming that we have majorities on 3 of those people, that creates a slate, and that slate will then be proposed by someone, seconded and voted on. All right, so we have Chris Hodges, Brad Rice, Wes Riles, and Emmy Smock. The first 3, Chris Hodges, Brad Rice, Wes Riles, are seeking reappointment. And Emmy Smock would be new to the commission if appointed. And again, that's 4 people for 3 terms. So I'm going to start with the roll call, and I'll just go left to right this time. Councilmember Wagenhauser, which 3 would you put your vote in for?
I would, here, Chris Hodges, Rice, and Riles
Okay.
to be reappointed. Thank you.
Councilmember Latham,
Chris Hodges,
Right here.
I'm sorry, because I don't have the copy. Brad Rice and Wes Riles.
okay. Councilmember Peters Reed,
Chris Hodges, Brad Rice, and Emmy Smock.
okay. Councilmember Blanton,
Chris Hodges, Brad Rice, and Wes Riles.
and Councilmember.
Hodges, Rice, and Riles, please.
Okay, so by my tally, your slate would be Hodges, Rice, and Riles, if someone would like to make that motion.
I move that we reappoint Chris Hodges, Brad Rice, and Wes Riles to the Historic Preservation Commission.
Second.
Are there any more discussions? All in favor, show of hands. 1, 2, 3. Vote unanimously. Thank you so much.
All right, next up is the Planning and Zoning Commission. Again, we have 3 full terms with 4 applicants, so we'll follow the same process. The applicants are Paul Anderson, Kayla Andrews,
Hang on.
Mike Becker, and Cynthia Jones. Paul Anderson and Cynthia Jones are seeking reappointment. So we'll go right to left this time. So Councilmember Joyce?
Yeah, if I could just make a comment
Sure.
first. We're kind of fortunate on this particular commission to have 2 applicants and 1 opening. I guess that's fortunate. We received both her applications. I did speak with Kayla Andrews today. I don't know her, but she's got a very impressive resume as well. And it was not an easy choice for me, but I chose to reappoint Anderson and Jones, and I'm voting for Mike Becker for the 3rd seat.
Councilmember Blanton?
Anderson, Jones, and Becker.
Peters Reed?
Anderson Andrews is very impressive. I've known her for a while. She's a really, really smart girl. She's got an impressive resume. So Anderson, Andrews, and Jones.
Councilmember Latham?
Anderson, Andrews, and Jones.
And Councilmember Wagenhauser?
And I would have to say that I was personally courted Mike Becker, who had already has expressed a lot of interest in being involved in the city more extensively. So my vote would be Anderson, Becker, and Jones.
Okay, so that, by my calculation, gives you a slate of Anderson, Becker, and Jones.
Okay.
I move we accept the slate of Anderson, Becker, and Jones for the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Second.
There any more discussion? All in favor, show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4.
We're all.
All? You 4? Okay.
I'm sorry.
You?
Yes.
Okay. Just vote. Everybody vote. Show of hands again. Okay. Opposed, none. Vote unanimously. Thank you so much.
And if I could add, Mayor, that to the members of the council and staff, to please keep an eye on Ms. Andrews.
Yes.
She's the HR director for the school board, impressive candidate, and to have someone who lives in the city who's willing to serve our city in a commission, another commission, perhaps she could be a real asset, and I hope we can find a way to use her in another commission soon.
I totally agree with you.
Eric? Thank you.
I totally agree as well. I actually courted her to come and try to do something in our city so we could get a little, just a little flavor. I think I talked to Molly and told Molly we needed some extra flavor. So that's why I courted Kayla. She's an amazing young woman. She is actually, like you just said, the HR director. And she's had her hands on a couple of more things. She was actually on Leadership Morgan and Kiwanis. She's done a lot of things in our city. So she can add a lot. So I hope we can get her on another board somewhere within the city.
Thank you. Donation for Bell Park. Bell
We
Massey.
still have one
No,
more.
we have
I
one
believe.
more.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
We do have the Public Arts Commission. It is not their time of year for appointments, but we do have 2 vacant seats and 1 applicant, should you so choose to appoint Emily Smeltzer. I would suggest that you appoint her to the second term, which is a full term, so that we get her for a full 3 years. And we'll see if we can find somebody to fill out the second one.
Ken, if I could add something with your permission, Mr. Mayor. I did speak with Emmy Smock today. She's a friend of mine. I did kind of intimate her that there's a very good chance that it would be hard to unseat reappointed HPC members. And she expressed an interest, and it may not be right order, but to me, she expressed an interest in being considered for the Public Arts Commission.
Okay, and I will say that our standard operating procedure says that it is your prerogative to appoint folks whether there's an application before you or not, so you can consider that if you'd like to.
Well, if I may, we already have an application on file from Emmy.
Just for a
expressing-
different commission,
Right,
yes.
but expressing her interest, we can see what her background is, and I know that you talk with her quite often, Eric, so if you feel like it would serve her and serve the commission to appoint her for the public arts.
I do believe it would. Betsy, she's got a wonderful personal art collection, and she also owned a gallery out in, I think, San Francisco some years ago. So she's got some experience in the business of art now, whether that's all applicable to our Public Arts Commission. So she wants to serve, and since there's 2 openings, I think she'd be a good asset, and I intend to vote for her.
Okay.
Great.
Well, so perhaps, and Ken may suggest as well, because you already had on the heels of, possibly, because we do have an application for the specific position, then we fill that with the vacant, the one that needs to be refilled. Is that how I want to articulate that, Ken? With the full term?
So let me ask a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Wait,
So we're gonna pull in, well, you said Emmy Smock, but we're not thinking about Kayla Andrews at all. We're just gonna leave her hanging out in midair. And her application is here as well.
but she didn't express interest in being on.
Did anybody even ask her, did she wanna do any other boards, or we're just gonna just drop her in midair right now?
In my conversation with her today, I suggested that if she were not selected tonight, kind of what I just said publicly, that I would very much like to find a place for her. I did not specifically suggest the Arts Commission, however.
And we might have an avenue for,
We have a couple more openings we think will be emergent at the beginning of the year, and I'll be happy to talk with you about those.
Thank you.
Housing Commission being one of them, which sounds like Kayla might be good on that too.
Would you,
But if I may as well, if you feel, Carrie, if you feel we should maybe come back in January and make all the extra appointments, I'd be happy to do that as well, so it looked more equitable.
Right, it would look more equitable.
And I
that'd be
appreciate you
fine with me,
raising
too.
that.
Wanna
Thank
hold
you.
off on Smock till we see whether
Sure.
Ms. Andrews would want that.
Yes.
It's fine with me.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Carrie.
Thank both of you, and thank you, Ken.
Okay,
Need a motion?
yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion, we appoint Emily Smeltzer to the term from beginning 1/2024 through 6/2027.
I'll second that motion.
There any more discussion? All in favor, show of hands. Opposers, none, vote unanimously. Thank you so much. Donation for Bell Park. Bell Masters Partnership. Monica, you,
Yes, sir, I'm sorry, I almost forgot it was on there, and I've already moved, so I'm gonna stay here if that's okay. We are doing some planting and following up of the wall beautification that occurred on that gift of property that occurred maybe 2-3 years ago. Like Eric says, things move at glacial speed. The wall has been installed, it has been acid washed, the plaque has been installed, and when I mentioned how much the city would be spending on vegetation out of the city's budget, and Aaron kind of ordered plants or priced that out, I shared that with Miss Carolyn Massey. And she said, okay, I'll be down there with a check. And I said, okay, great. So she volunteered to pay for half of the expense of the beautification. And so we have received said check, and I've given it over to finance. Please God, say I've given it to finance. And we just would need your formal acceptance for those funds. And they would be allocated for the expenditure at Bell Park. Bell Massey Partnership is the official donor.
I think she's had a great record with it, going back with the HPC on that property, going back a number of years, expressing interest in playing an important role in vegetating the park properly. So she's a real good partner, I think.
Yes, sir. It would not be an understatement to say that she bossed Merritt around into giving that property to the city. They were the first kind of formal beautification area, and it was leased to the city from the 70s forward. And so the gift of the land assures us that green space going forward.
Mr. Mayor?
yes, sir.
If I may, I'm one that likes, if somebody wants to help us and do that, I move that we approve the contribution.
Second.
Are there any more discussion? All in favor, show of hands. Opposed, none, vote unanimously. Public comments. I don't think anyone is here for public comments. Just like to remind our council member about our Employee Service Award luncheon on Wednesday at 12 noon. And I hope that you can make, if you can make it, please let our Human Resource Director know, Carol Robinson. Food will be served. Our annual parade is scheduled for Saturday afternoon at 4 o'clock. Is that right, Sarah? They're asking us to meet that at what time, 3:30? The council member to be there? 3:30. 3:30, okay. Parade was started at 4. Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Can I add one thing?
Sure.
So on December 9th, 1809, the city of Madison was incorporated. So,
All right.
so
Wow.
today is our 215th anniversary.
215th anniversary.
Thank you, Ken.
Wow, kid.
And it doesn't look a year over 200.
215. Is there anything else to come before our council tonight? If not, if I could get a motion to go into executive session to discuss real estate.
I move.
So moved.
Oh, second.
Motion by
Litigation.
litigation, motion by Mayor Pro Tem Reed, second by Councilmember Wagner.
For litigation.
On litigation.
I want to go say something.